Clemens, tell us when you're ready.
We're on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Lord, we ask that your blessing upon this meeting. We ask that you would allow us to be respectful to one another, to be prudent in our decisions. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
I'd like to call this evening's meeting of Jackson City Council to order. We'll have a roll call. Ms. Kuhn.
Foster. Elliott. Colby. Peters. Newkirk. Bob.
Next on our agenda is recognitions. Mayor, I think.
Yes.
Some recognition.
We've had a tremendous amount of fires recently due to the cold weather, and as you, I think council's full aware, Chief Dave Channel recently took a leave of absence. So I asked the interim leadership of the fire department to stop by. I just wanted to introduce them to council so you would all know who they are. And so they're here tonight. If you guys would come stand up here, and I got just a couple words to say here about you. I will hold back on all the bad words and just say the good things I know about y'all.
You're not going to hurt my feelings.
So, with the hat is Kyle Hickey. He is currently serving as the interim chief. It was kind of a no-brainer to name him as interim chief when Dave Channel took his leave. He, for a few years now, has been the assistant chief and has done a good job at that. Kyle is a fully trained firefighter. He's also an engineer working in town here, office with Geiger Brothers, where he manages a large construction outfit, and I'm sure all those skills come in handy with the fire department too. When we went to look for an interim assistant fire chief to replace Kyle, we had several people in the fire department showed interest in it, and we narrowed it down. We really just couldn't narrow it down to one, so we narrowed it down to two. So we now have two interim assistant fire chiefs, which, by the way, from the feedback I'm getting, has been a big help by having two rather than one, especially when you have multiple calls at the same time. As the headline in the Jackson paper, the last paper talked about, all the calls they've been getting. Herb Peoples on the far right, fully trained firefighter, been with the fire department quite some time, and then Stephen Moore in the middle has also been with the Jackson firefighter. As it turns out, aside from former or current Chief Channel, who's on leave, these three are the three most senior people in the fire department. Now, they weren't chosen based on seniority, but you always consider that. But they are the three most senior firefighters, I guess. But we also looked at the training they have. We also looked at the leadership that has been shown by them on fires as we talked to members of the fire department. And also just the hands-on experience that they have as they have been firefighters in Jackson. So all that was taken into consideration. I think we found the right guys to be interim assistants. I think in spite of Chief Channel being off recently, and in spite of how busy they are, I think things have been going pretty well. I just wanted council to know who they are and who's doing the firefighting for Jackson now. I want to thank you guys for coming tonight. Any or all of you are welcome to say something before council if you'd like.
No, we just appreciate the opportunity. I do want to bring up that, it sounds like we've added a position. These guys have been, I've stayed at the assistant chiefs pay, so I did not go to chief's pay. And these guys are still just a basic call-out pay, so they're doing a lot of additional duties for basically no additional money. And it's, I mean, I don't know, without calls, it's probably 10 to 15 hours a week of everything else, but with the calls we've been having, it's been a second full-time job coming through January. So these guys have stepped up for no additional money, and it's a lot of additional work. So we do a lot of administrative stuff. We've been in days in, you know, they had a sprinkler bust. We're working with them, trying to get them back in service. There's a lot of administrative stuff that everybody doesn't see when we're not responding to calls, and then you pile 8 or 9 structure fires in there amongst, I think, 30 some other calls this month, and it gets really busy. So I'd like you guys to thank these two for stepping up for basically no cost to the city above what we're actually probably cheaper now, because I don't think Dave's getting his stipend or whatever.
Herb or Stephen, you guys want to say anything?
I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoy the fire department, and I really enjoy this town, so that's why I do what I do.
Herb stole my words.
I want to add, Herb and Stephen are both full-time employees of the city. And at times, we know that's not ideal, but it's been a lifesaver for the fire department because with the numbers they currently have on the fire department, during the day especially, when volunteer firefighters are not available, sometimes without them, there may have been nobody show up for a fire call, or very limited numbers. I don't know if any of you want to expand on that or not.
That's very true. You guys allowing the city employees to help has been tremendous. If we were on a structure fire first of the year, I don't remember, but if I was there, one other person was there that was not a city employee, we ended up with, I think, 6 there. Without that, we would have had a house on fire in Jackson with 2 people. So it's not a good place to be. Being these guys in town and being able to respond has been tremendous help. Because the daytime we have no help. Everybody's home at night in bed. We get a really good turnout at night, whether it's 2, 3 in the morning, we still got a lot of support from our folks. But during the day, I mean, one drives a bus, one works road out in Guy County. I mean, these guys just aren't here. It's not that they don't want to come, it's just that unless they have a job right here that keeps them right here, they're unable to respond. So it's been a lifesaver for us. Hopefully a lifesaver for people we respond to.
Well, thank you guys for coming in tonight. We appreciate what you do for the city.
No problem.
Okay, sure. Yeah, up here, there's a little more room. Plus council's in the background that way.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. You do not need to stay if you don't want to, but you're welcome to. I'm hoping it's a short meeting.
Yeah, you're right.
Next on our agenda is visitors speak. I don't think we had anyone who signed up to speak this evening, so we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from the January 13th meeting. You all have a copy in your packets of the minutes. Are there any objections or corrections to the minutes as provided to council? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to adopt the minutes as presented. So moved. Mr. Peters, second, Ms. Colby. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Next, we'll go into our committee reports. Utility Committee, Mr. Newkirk.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Newkirk. Budget and Finance, Ms. Colby.
No report.
Thank you, Ms. Colby. Police, Fire, and Traffic, Mr. Foster.
I have nothing else except what the mayor said about the fire department.
I would remind us that I believe on the February the 10th at 6 o'clock, there is a committee meeting here before council meeting. Service, Mr. Peters.
No report other than DORA. We talked about I don't know how many years, 250 Ohio birthday, whatever we're celebrating.
What is it, Cessna?
Something,
Sesquicentennial.
10
Yeah.
million.
So for Dora, Mr. Swackhammer and I had kind of hammered out a basic map. We kind of put it on hold because we were trying to do a lot of other things in the fall. So I'm not going to call a meeting. We have a few other hurdles, some other issues that we need to tidy up before. But just on the radar, Mr. Kirby has all the information for our application. I also provided him Chillicothe and Logan's legislation, so it's all pretty much the same, so we can fill in the blanks, I guess, to say. So just on your radar, we've got a few other meetings that we have to take some time with, and instead of stacking meetings on top of one another, space it out, but just FYI, we're going to try to get that legislation passed as soon as possible.
Mr. Peters? Mr. Reed?
The only thing I'd like to say is we had a call or contacted by a neighboring city, and it's nice to see in 2.5 years that we've kind of come full circle. They asked for some help from our auditors, from our office. We went over and helped them learn the system. They had new people coming in, kind of unexpected. It was kind of nice to be in a position where you have the ability to help somebody, and we were able to do that. So I want to give kudos to the ladies in the office. They went over and helped set up the office, and I think it was very much appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Kirby?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. Chief Finch is not with us this evening, but I will make a comment that I plan to talk to Chief Finch a little bit in discussions about we are having a lot of pedestrian traffic on Huron Street, and we are having a lot of pedestrian traffic on State Route 93. In the evenings, some folks who work late, and I just want to encourage these folks to find some reflective vests or something, because I truly almost hit a gentleman the other day, and I never saw him. He was on Huron Street. They're in a very dark area. He was wearing a dark coat, obviously coming home from work possibly, and with the snowpack, it's really pushed people into the street a little bit more, and because of that, and I just want to encourage those who walk in the evening time to wear some reflective vests or something, so we, those of us who are driving can see and we can share the road. So I do want to ask folks to help those drivers out and vice versa. Mayor's report, Mayor Evans.
First, I want to expand on what Auditor Reed said. I received a message from that neighboring mayor that our auditor's office helped, and said, seriously, I can't thank you guys enough for the help that we give them. So I agree. Kudos to the auditor's office being willing to help out and actually going to do it to our neighbors. I want to give I don't really have much update on Project Nights. I'm going to give you a little bit of update, a reminder on regarding the income tax. I know we all, I want to keep that in front of you all, because it's going to be here before you know it, and we all, I think we all know how much we need that income tax to continue. Per the Ohio Revised Code, there's only two primary ways to fund general funds in the cities. It's either city income tax or it's additional property taxes. And that didn't used to be that way. There used to be a lot of state money sent down to small cities and towns, but not anymore. This is how you do it. And I don't like it any more than anyone else, but this is how it's done. And probably not much chance of passing extra property taxes for the city. Although there are some cities in the state of Ohio, in fact, a couple of cities in the state of Ohio that don't have a city income tax have a lot more property taxes to make that up. They do, such as Beaver Creek. They have a lot of property taxes in lieu of their city income tax. But essentially all other cities, even small towns and villages, have income taxes now to cover these expenses of the general fund, which again, I just want to remind you, it's anything to do with streets. It's infrastructure such as streets, sidewalks, alleys, buildings. It's anything to do basically with our parks, and it's everything to do with our police. The utility funds pay for the utility services, but those funds and so-called, for lack of a better word, profits from those departments can't be used for these general fund items. It's just not legal. All these other items are paid for either with an income tax or property taxes. And I just want to remind, years ago, when we were trying to get this passed the first time, I stated what like other cities around us have. I just want to remind that again. For example, Athens has a 1.95% income tax, city income tax. They had just raised it from 1.85. Chillicothe has a 2% income tax. Circleville has a 2.5% income tax. Columbus and Portsmouth both have 2.5% income taxes to fund these general fund services. Logan has a 2.0% income tax. Marietta, a 1.85%. The Village of Rio Grande has a 1.5%. It's the same as we're trying to continue. And then smaller towns around us like Waverly, Galplis, and even Wellston, they all have a 1% income tax. So this is how everyone does it. So I'm just reminding you all to try to keep this in front of you. We need to continue to promote and explaining the need and the necessity, actually, of having this income tax in Jackson. That May 6th election is going to be here before we know it, which leads me to the next item. The petitions for your council seats that you all hold are due next Wednesday. So I don't know how many of you have filed or haven't filed. This is a reminder that snuck up on us. February 5th, next Wednesday by 4 o'clock, your petitions are all due if you're running for council seat again. Also, tomorrow night, the Republican caucus meets, and they should select tomorrow night a candidate. If they have any, they should select a candidate to fill H.D. Crabtree's seat that's vacant on council. So, quickly, we did have a couple prior meetings tonight. I think most of you were at least at the last one. There was a Parks and Trails consultant. The city received a grant through the mayor's partnership and hired a consultant to work to develop us a master plan for our Parks and Trails. Earlier tonight, they had the third meeting of 4 on that, and then they hope to present to council at the conclusion of that a master plan for improvements to our Parks and Trails citywide. And then later after that, the consultant who the city hired to update our 40-year-old zoning in the city of Jackson was here. I missed that meeting. Mr. Schwackhammer can probably give you a little update on that if you weren't here for that. And then I'm pretty sure you all were here when this last meeting, just prior to council. BDT Architects was here to discuss the feasibility study of a memorial building renovation. That's just starting. We got a lot of work to do quickly there. Try to make something happen there. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor? Mr. Schwackhammer.
I'm going to have a couple items I want to go over. Resolution 0325, That is actually got a 1/31 deadline, so I would ask council to consider adding the emergency clause and passing it tonight so that we can submit for that, comply with that and submit for the $5,000 that's associated in helping with the celebration. Next item I want to cover with, I'm going to expand a little bit on what the mayor said about funding. You know, we did a lot of water and sewer programs this year. Normally, if it wasn't for the grants, that would come out of your rates. So, you know, again, the income tax offset a lot of rate increases that we did not have to. You know, if you'll remember back, your water and sewer rates have not changed since 2020, I believe, when the automatic 3% has came off. And so therefore, we've been using the income tax instead of raising people's water and sewer rates to offset the need for all these line repairs and replacements. Last thing I want to touch on a little bit is, since the fire department is here, Mr. Hickey was right. As of, I believe it was Friday of last week, they had a total of 33 runs, 2 motor vehicle fires, 4 motor vehicle crashes, 6 medical assists. Most of those were due to medic vehicles getting stuck in the snow and couldn't get to the patient and needed assistance. 9 structure fires, 3 electrical short circuits, 4 smoke or smoke scares, 1 sprinkler issue, and then they had 4 that ended up being canceled en route. So, less than, what was that, been 25 days into the month, first of the year, we're 33 runs, averaging more than 1 run a day. Been very busy, and again, I greatly appreciate the leadership and the fire department as a whole.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Questions for the service director?
Yeah, just a quick question, Mr. President. For snow removal, there is an ordinance requiring residents to clean the sidewalks off. Where are we at? I know we don't get much snow, but there's places even near the schools where the sidewalks are just not passable. He's talking sidewalk, if there is one, I believe, on Huron Street that is not accessible, you can't walk on it. So, I know we don't get a lot of snow, but it's kind of the same as not mowing your grass, in my opinion. So kind of where are we at with the enforcement of that? Or can we?
It is considered a misdemeanor in the city ordinance, so it's not a zoning enforcement. It would have to be handled through other means. But you're right, it is the responsibility by ordinance of the adjoining property owner for all public sidewalks.
We probably should take a look at that at some point. We need to update it or whatnot, because it's very small. It's under 521.06, duty to keep sidewalks and repair and clean. And it's just A and B. A was that you gotta keep them free of snow and any ice or nuisance. And then B is whoever in this section is guilty of minor misdemeanor, so.
Would you?
What section was that again?
521.06.
Contact Chief Hinch and have him comment about that coming in on the meeting for the 10th.
Thank you.
Since he's here, I might ask Pete to try to get a notice out to that effect too, the current situation, that is what ordinance requires.
I live near a school and most of the neighbors clear their sidewalks, but there are some that don't. And it's pretty treacherous. The Vaughn Street, the Carter side of Vaughn Street is, can't even walk on it because it's not clear. There's kids it's all packed down and frozen now. Eventually, it's gonna probably melt off this weekend, but the snow's been on the ground for a month almost at this point. And it is hazardous, just like President Pauls was talking about. Some of the other streets that you can't go through the sidewalk, so you have to walk in the street, which creates a lot of issues. Just something that we need to look at. Like I said, we don't get a lot of snow, but pretty unsafe, especially for the school kids. So, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Anything else for Mr. Swackhammer? Hearing none, we'll move into the ordinances and resolutions portion of our meeting. We'll begin ordinance second reading, resolution, second reading, resolution 0325. Ms. Kim?
A resolution of the City of Jackson, Ohio, supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial America 250, Ohio.
Discussion.
Mr. President, I'll move to suspend the rules to meet the deadline.
We need to amend it first.
Is it not under emergency?
It's not.
I just need to amend it. I have it ready.
The emergency clause added.
Okay.
I second that.
Mr. Elliott, second. Discussion. Ms. Kim?
Foster.
Well, yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Bach.
Further discussion? Ms. Cook?
Foster.
Oh, yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Bach.
Resolution 03-2025 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, resolution 0425. Ms. Cook?
A resolution approving the mayor's appointment of members to the Community Improvement Board and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to have a motion to adopt resolution 0425 as presented to council. Mr. Bob? Second by Mr. Elliott. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discussion. Mayor Evans.
This is just my appointments, and it's actually the same appointments I made 3 years ago to the CIB, what's referred to as the CIB board. They are planned, I think they have, this is actually ran by the commissioners, they have a meeting planned early in February, I believe. This board distributes the 0.5% of the county sales tax to the townships and the cities and the villages of the county. I would ask you to, the emergency clause is on here, I would ask you to pass this on first reading so we can have the board in place ready for that meeting.
President, I'll move to suspend rules.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Newkirk. Discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Bach.
Further discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Bach.
Resolution 042025 is duly adopted. That concludes our portion of the ordinances and resolution. Ms. Coon, do you have something under the correspondence?
Yeah, the financial disclosure reminders are in your binders this time. I just need you to pull off that back page and sign it and give that back to me, just showing that you've received the deadline dates and instructions. And at the last meeting, I had said that the deadline was May 15th, which it is, unless you are running again. If you're running again, it is April 7th. That is a big difference, so make sure you get that done by April 7th if you are running in the May election.
Thank you, Ms. Coon. Is there any old business to be brought before council?
Yeah, I guess. Last week would be old business, right? I want to say thanks to the electric department. Had a power outage last Wednesday morning at 5:15. I got half of the city back up in less than 2 hours. It was what, -8 degrees?
It's chilly.
Good job, other guys.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Any other old business to be brought before council?
We need that public hearing. When are we doing the public hearing time?
For,
That Planning Commission, we talked about it this morning.
Yeah, they,
It's under new business,
Oh.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
on
so
the
did-
I'm
agenda.
sorry, I have it in my old book.
Yeah,
I wrote it in the wrong book.
I think yeah, it comes up here in just a second.
Okay.
Hearing none, we'll go to new business.
Since the mayor was absent from his chair, we carried the meeting on without him. And we met with the firm that is rebuilding the zoning code. He just had a display, couple people out there in the gallery. We decided that we would recommend it to move forward, so there'll be a public meeting on February 18th, so it's Tuesday. So Tuesday after President's Day, at 5:30 here. And everyone's invited, even your friends.
That should fulfill the 7-day public meeting notice after that date.
February 18th at 5:30.
Can you do the date again?
February 18th, it's Tuesday, at 5:30, right here.
Yes, sir.
Is there a way to get it online or what their final is so the public can see it?
I actually think that Tanya had talked to someone.
I think Cindy's
I
already got
have
it
the
there.
draft, it's been online for over a week, is that, did you make changes tonight?
No.
Okay, then it's on the
That'll be
website.
final then?
Yeah,
That's the
so I just
final.
need to change it, the wording to final, I guess.
She made contact with Ben, who was with Crossroads, to put something on Pete's.
Morning shift, yeah.
But that would be on the city's website,
Yeah,
correct?
it's under,
Where you have it.
it's under council, yeah.
And I don't, Mr. Peters, I don't know that I need to ask to be excused from that meeting, but I was at my grandson's last home basketball game.
I was just giving you a hard time.
I know you was, but I'm just telling you where I
The board I
was.
resigned, got appointed. That one.
So that'll be, I would tell, I think everybody here for council was here, but I will say we attempted to have it on the 17th, but that's a holiday, so hence the Tuesday, the 18th, for that reason, instead of Monday. Mr. Elliott, you had a meeting, I believe, last week involving the Starbucks. We'd like to comment on that, the meeting that you had and what came out of it.
They agreed to make some changes that satisfied Mr. Evans, the mayor, and satisfied us. So we granted the variance.
So Starbucks is looking like it's coming to Jackson.
Looks like it.
Comments, questions for Mr. Elliott out of that meeting? So one other item that I have in new business. So some time ago, we discussed a little bit about going to tablets electronically instead of having these with paper and changes, and oftentimes there would be additions of resolutions or ordinances or changes to ordinances and resolutions as well as other information, and we're trying to put more paper and we're printing more paper. So I asked our IT gentleman to get us a quote for tablets that would be for the council president, the auditor, Mr. Swackhammer, and Mr. Evans. That quote is in front of you. For those, it's a one-time fee for 13 tablets, each tablet being $331.66. Obviously, these are transferable back. They are property of the city, but I would like to offer the floor here to some comments about thoughts about tablets versus doing paper and notebooks. Obviously, Ms. Kuhn wouldn't have to print these and get them out, tear your stuff out, leave some things in. And I think it's a much more efficient way for us as a member of council and the administration to work together and communicate together. So I open that floor up to those who would like to comment.
It is 2025, so most people have an iPhone, like, there's no learning curve. I know we discussed this, these are, I think 10-inch, or actually 9-inch iPad 10th gen. They'll last a while, you could probably get 5 or 6 years out of use out of them. The thing that's nice, though, that we think about is all the corrections that we make, and then Cindy's running around before meetings, and if someone has a certain copy of one thing, it's more uniform. Your email's on there as well, so you don't have to worry about, not getting emails if you're trying to log into school on your computer at home or whatever. But I personally am so over all this paper. It's ridiculous. Like, I have a whole 4-drawer file cabinet of paper. It's ridiculous.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Other comments?
There was an additional charge. I don't know what this one was. Was this some kind of, I think Ryan might have seen the quotes too.
I think that was, the additional charge was there if we wanted, I think, to go with a plan, a cellular plan.
Yeah, that was the other thing. We don't need that as long as we have access to Wi-Fi here, because
I didn't even know what it was.
it's kind of opening up it for a lot of bad things happening once the iPad leaves here. I mean, it's obviously going to connect to Wi-Fi, but there's no you don't need a data plan, I mean, on it. I'm sure, once again, it's 2025. If you don't have Wi-Fi, I feel sorry for you, if you're sitting at this table, that is.
Well, I think there, like I said, there's 13 of them. We have budgeted for this. This was in the budget. I believe we have put more in for that. I believe it was 5,000, I think, originally, possibly, that we had budgeted. So it's something that we've been looking at, and and if council would like to think about it, and we could make some kind of decision at our next meeting, that's fine. But I believe this is more advantageous for us to move to this tablet and communicate with that. Hearing no other comments, Mr. Bob?
Can we make a motion right now to?
Sure we can.
Sure.
I'll move to go
I'll
ahead
make a
and
motion that we go through with this program, make this purchase.
I'll second.
I mean, if the money's already in the budget,
Last year, too.
it's not something that we're gonna have to find. So
I'll second. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Discussion, other discussion?
will we have a learning class?
Yes.
You already have an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
no.
we'll request our IT couple meetings. And then, because yes, I mean, I know that there'll be some questions. Absolutely.
That's Ryan's business, he can take it.
That's a conflict of interest. Recuse myself from that.
Okay, all in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Any other new business? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Elliott, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.